Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Swole Friends podcast. My name is Alex. I am your host. I am also the co-founder and COO here at Swolverine. We're an endurance athlete and active lifestyle brand. And today we are joined by Arielle Loewen. Good morning. How are you?
Morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing good. If you're watching this later on in life, we apologize. It's probably not morning where you are. But right now, you're in Texas, correct?
Correct. 9:30ish. Good little time in Texas.
Nice. Okay. And we're headquartered in here in Reno, Nevada, so it's like 7:30 in the morning. But you look great for a morning person. I don't know.
You too? Different type of morning. 9 a.m. morning is a different pace than 7 a.m.
Oh my gosh, right? Does your daughter wake up early?
No, she's usually up at like 9.
Oh, that's not bad.
8:30. Oh, it's beautiful. So I have time to like
moms
get
watching
up.
right now. They're like, I don't like you anymore. No.
Yeah.
My daughter wakes up at 4 a.m. like a little chicken.
No way. Me and my husband though, like we will sleep in till like 9 if you let us. So she's accustomed to the family traditions.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. She's like, I'm
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, I'm super excited to chat with you. For those of you who don't know, we're being joined here by a 2 times CrossFit Games athlete, a 2 times Fittest mom in North America. Correct? I'm just
Love
we have a
it.
scholar here. We have a MBA, right? So
Yeah.
you've done your master's. You also have a pretty amazing presence on social media. If you haven't visited her social media on Instagram, I would definitely recommend it. You're going to be inspired whether you compete or do CrossFit or even know what CrossFit is. And so really excited to kind of chat with you, but give me kind of the rundown about you. Where did your athletic journey start? How did you find CrossFit, and we'll kind of take it from there?
Yeah, I feel like everybody has the same story. Like they had too much energy as a kid, so their parents put them in gymnastics. My parents always joked, yeah, go do something. But like there would be like the tallest slide at the playground, and I would like at 3 years old find my way to the top of it and slide down. So they were like, we need to channel this energy and like safely have her learn how to climb things, how to balance on a beam. So I was in gymnastics at a young age, and then in high school did track, cheerleading. I think that was it. And then after high school, I basically was like, I'm so used to fitness. I'm so used to working out through track. I need to transition into something else before I just kind of gain the freshman 15 in college. So I know, coaching in a cheer gym, really wanted to try CrossFit, couldn't afford it as a college student. So I tried out my first class, fell in love with it, and then ended up talking to the owners about like, how can we make this work? I can't afford it. And they actually let me clean the gym in exchange for my first CrossFit membership. And they kind of taught me everything I need to know about it.
That is really cool. Oh my gosh.
It's fun. Yeah,
that
from like
awesome.
rags to riches, like in
Now she's the queen of the gym.
yeah, something like that.
Right. Oh my gosh. Where did you go to college for your undergrad?
I went to 3 different colleges. I did my associates at like a local community college, the college. I tried out Texas Tech for a semester, and it was just not for me. It was too big, overwhelming. So I ended up finishing at Hardin-Simmons in Abilene, Texas. Got my undergrad and then my master's from there as well.
Nice. Did you grow up in Texas?
My parents were military, so we grew up kind of everywhere, but we lived in Texas for a little bit, moved to Nebraska, came back to Texas, and I've been here ever since.
Nice. Did you ever want to follow in the military footsteps?
No, not really. I think I would have. I know. I think I would have if I had like I wasn't married or I wanted help paying for college, but like it all kind of worked out to where college was okay. I found my husband and like I didn't have a need to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What's that origin story? How'd you guys meet?
We actually met in high school. We joke about it because the first year we were like best friends and I was like obsessed with him. The second year,
I love this guy.
The second year we were best friends. He was obsessed with me, but I didn't really like him. And then like we ended up going to like I know. It's like flip-flop.
He likes me now, and I don't like him anymore.
Yeah. I was like, this is too easy. So we went to senior prom together, and then after that, we kind of just like started dating, and we've been together ever since.
Oh my gosh. How fun is that?
Oh, and the most fun part is, so we started dating like right after prom. So like end of May. And then I found CrossFit in June. So he's literally seen me from like day one of CrossFit until now. So for him to like be on the journey with me is so special.
He's been up with you the whole way.
Yeah, exactly.
Never ran away. What a man. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Keeps me humble.
And your first open was in, I think it's 2013, was it?
Yeah, 2013.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember my first open workout I ever did. Everybody hypes up the open, so I had no idea what to expect. So I took a ton of pre-workout before, thinking like, it's going to get me amped. And I think it was like 40 burpees, 40 snatches, 30 burpees, 30 snatches. And I ended up doing the workout and then just throwing up everywhere afterwards. Because I had so much, like, I never take pre-workout. So my stomach was just full of like crap, basically. So
Fruit
funny.
juice everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like most people have a story like that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember like I just took this because I think it's good for me," and then I do it, and then it's like, no.
Yeah,
And then you have the people who keep doing it, and you're like, "Why?"
I know, and it made me realize like game day, open day is not the time to experiment with like new supplements or new caffeinated drinks.
Anything. I mean, like, if you don't need a banana on game day, don't eat a banana on game day.
Exactly.
Don't switch it up. It's okay.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, that's actually,
That's
one
so
of the
funny.
funniest things is why we don't do like any caffeine or stimulants. And we have a good like amount of people who come to us and they're like, "Why don't you have any caffeine? This is terrible pre-workout." And I'm like, "Do you do CrossFit?" No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't
don't
get your
get
heart
it.
rate up? Okay, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so funny. And so, I think for people starting out, it's really exciting to do the open and really exciting to like get on that leaderboard and things like that until they see where they're at. And I kind of say that like out of my own experience too, right? Where you're just like, oh gosh, I am not anywhere near where I need to be. And when you started in 2013, how long had you been doing CrossFit before you did the open?
I started in 2012. So I'd been doing it for a year. And I think I had like I don't even know if I had my ring muscle up at this time. So I was still very, very like learning what a snatch is, learning how to kick toes to bar together. So the open was very humbling of like, oh, wow, I need to work on these things.
Well, and you have that gymnastics background, right? But had you ever lifted, like, did you guys have a lifting program at school or anything like that prior to learning lifts in CrossFit?
No, I did a little bit of weightlifting like in track, but nothing like technique Olympic powerlifting.
Yeah, right. They just like throw you on the platform, squat, and you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
How much weight
Okay.
can I
Yeah.
Oh man, it hurts. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know why it hurts? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So in 2013, you placed 2,930th.
Okay.
And then you jumped in 2014 to 365th. And then from there, it's kind of just been like this steady progression up into being a two-time games athlete, right? And so kind of that steady year-over-year progression. What are some of the things that, you walked away in the early days that you walk away with now, whether it's like mentality, or did you struggle more so with just movements or having a coach, or what were some of the things that kind of got in your way that you had to resolve year over year to continue that progression forward into being an athlete that you wanted to be?
I think I was very focused on that, like year 2013 to 2018, like how can I improve? And I like, okay, this is what I need to improve on. I'm bad at wall balls, so I improved on that. Just like really self-assessing what I need to do. And in 2017, actually, when I was in college in Abilene, trained with a games athlete, Roy Gamboa, and just kind of watched him, saw what he did. So I was very focused then on like looking at the best. Okay, now I need to train with the best to improve. And I did improve, but it really wasn't until like after childbirth that like I didn't even focus on competing. I didn't even focus on trying to do better in the open. It just kind of like naturally all fell into place. Like the Lord put it there. So it's just very interesting to see. I had like two types of seasons in mindset. One was like before baby, how can I control the open? How can I do my best? How can I do this? And then after having Blakely, now it's like, wow, the Lord's blessing me. How can I keep this blessing going? And just like seeing it all as thankful instead of like working hard out of my own will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kind of maybe having like that bigger purpose or that bigger drive, like that. You always have your why, right? And that's that thing that you anchor to, and it gets you through those tough days or through those terrible workouts, that kind of thing. But then when you feel like that accountability, maybe to that external motivator or that external drive, really finding this synergistic like harmony between the two. Do you feel like that's kind of what fueled you and like your training post baby?
Absolutely. Like the before Blakely, it was all like, how can I, Arielle, be this amazing athlete? And now it's like, okay, cool. I'm providing for my family and I'm having fun. But at the end of the day, like family is what's grounding me and what's there when I come home from all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do outside of CrossFit? Do you do anything fun outside of CrossFit? Do you ever have time?
I really do. I don't train as much as like my competitors. We actually just built a house. So right now, a lot of my time, thank you. A lot of my time is like weeding the front yard, setting up random things. So not like
pick on one of the day, weedy. Pick on two.
Yeah, exactly. Clean the windows. Yeah. That, and then like Blakely's in gymnastics, so I'll take her to her gymnastics lessons. Maybe go visit my parents. Just like very, I don't know. We're just now homeowners, so I have like all these home check-off lists. So a lot of around the house stuff, which is so fun.
That's awesome. How do you feel being a mom and thinking about your own athletic journey and how you want to influence that, like with your daughter? Have you, I mean, she's only 3, right? So
yeah,
she's not too old. She's
no.
still a little baby. But have you kind of thought about that? Like, and you're like, should I put her in, CrossFit earlier, teach her how to weight lift, or should I let her like kind of do her own thing, or does she already kind of have like some of those personality traits where she's like singing everywhere, and you're like, you're not even going to do sports, you're just going to sing. Like, what's that like?
Yeah, I really want her to like find her own. Right now, like we have like a little home gym. She might come in there and like sit on the rower a little bit, but I really want her to like do gymnastics first, or maybe golf first, or soccer, and because CrossFit, I feel like it'll be here. Let her try the fun stuff. Like I can't do gymnastics now because I'm too old, but like let her do the fun stuff that like little kids do. But right now, she loves having like dance battles. So we'll like turn on her favorite song and we'll just like battle it out. So just like goofy fun stuff. I was like, keep the goofy side as long as possible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And keep it fun. I mean, that's something I think a lot of people, I don't know, struggle with. I myself included, is sometimes just having fun. Right. I think life, we make it so seriously, and it's serious. And it's like, is it really that serious? Is it really, do we have to put all this pressure on ourselves to be the expectation or be the image, or, really throw ourselves into the roles and responsibilities? Right.
Right.
And so go ahead.
No, just to say, even with the gym, a lot of people like make it too serious, and like you have to have fun when you show up. Otherwise you'll get burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's just like, well, why am I doing this? Right. I mean, it's with anything, a job, being, roles, responsibilities, hobbies, going to parties, going to your friends' houses. If I don't want to go to this barbecue and I hate everything about it, why do I keep putting myself in this situation?
Exactly.
Like, CrossFit's not that serious at all. No. Well, as far as like not enjoying it, right? I mean, it's serious in the sense that like this is your profession, this is something that you do for your lifestyle, that kind of thing. But just kind of serious in the sense that without that foundational principle, it's pretty hard to show up and do things and do them really well, right?
Yeah, and it's hard to sustain that. Like I'm real happy to be in the sport 10 years now, and I still enjoy it the same as like day one.
Yeah, and avoiding burnout, right?
Exactly.
We do have a question here. How pumped are you for the Rogue Invitational?
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Adrienne?
Hey, Adrienne. I actually they sent out their first round of invites, I think like right after the games, and I didn't get the first round. So I kind of like had a panic mode. So me and my husband were like, okay, if we don't get invited, we're doing the qualifier so we can go to Rogue. It's just exactly. I was like, it's just going to be the year of like qualifying for the games through the online qualifier, qualifying for Rogue through their online qualifier. But thankfully I got an invite, and it's probably one of my favorite competitions. So I was definitely like, I don't care what I need to do. I would love to be there.
That's awesome. What kind of makes it stand out from other competitions? Like what about the Rogue? I mean, I could put my own assumptions here, and I'm sure a lot of people could too. I mean, even just looking at it, it looks amazing. But tell me a little bit from the athlete's perspective. You know, what is it that differentiates Rogue from other competitions for you?
I feel like they treat the athletes very well. Like they help us with our hotel room. They cover our travel stipend. We get there and like check-in is a lot of fun. And then they, even when they're briefing events, they're like, okay, you're here to have fun. There's going to be a rope. Climb up the rope, climb down. Don't make it complicated. Like people are coming to see you guys put on a show essentially. So they're just like a lot more relaxed than like most competitions I go to. And it's in Texas. So that just like adds a little bit of icing to the cake.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, Adrian, you must be in Texas. I love that.
Shout out, yeah, Texas. Exactly. Yeah, and I'm like, they can't have this big of a competition in Texas. And like, I would love to be a part of it and then represent Texas, quote unquote.
Yeah, absolutely. Fittest mom in Texas, fittest mom ever in existence. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I can't have that title.
Sorry, Annie, move over. No.
Yeah. You said it.
I know, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's so funny.
So I do. Let's see if I have a little bit of static on my side. Would you want to try taking out your pods?
Sure.
And see if that's better. Sorry. Technical intermission, ladies and gentlemen.
That better?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sorry. Perfect. No, I know. I have technical issues too all the time. Last week with Leo, we actually talked for about 6 minutes before I pressed live, and I was like, "Leo, wait a second." And he's like, "What's wrong, Al?" And I'm like, we forgot to press live, so we're gonna actually do this again." And he's like, his face literally just dropped, and he's like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yes, I am."
Like all my good answers.
Welcome to my live. No.
I love it. No, easy fix.
Okay, that's perfect. That's really good. Okay, so Rogue Invitational is awesome. Treat the athletes super well, and you go out there and have fun. Were you doing anything with Wadapalooza this year?
I am.
Ooh.
I'm probably gonna go team. I don't know. My team has not been announced yet, so I'm gonna let them announce it. But I'm really excited with the people I partnered up with. I'll give this hint. It's a 3-girl team. I'm with 2 other girls.
Oh, snap. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no, I'll let them announce it, but I am really excited for how it all worked out.
Yeah, that's exciting. And team qualifiers are in October, right?
Honestly,
I think they're.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I kind of assumed we didn't have to qualify, but I could be way wrong. So
touche. Yeah, I think they're throwing invites out there. So
okay,
who knows? Just kind of adds the element of surprise here.
Yeah. The focus is Rogue. After Rogue, I'll like compartmentalize to the next competition.
I like that. Yeah. So let's kind of get into that. I mean, mentality of an athlete, mentality of a woman, being a woman and being an athlete is hard on its own because our bodies are constantly fluctuating, constantly changing. What do you feel like have been some of the trialing things for you, maybe from a mental, emotional, I mean, we could even go into a physical standpoint in being an athlete and being, the athlete that you are?
I think the hardest part this past year, I had to learn how to like set boundaries for myself because I learned I get very overwhelmed easily if I have to worry about like if I don't wake up before Blakely, like I've got to make my breakfast, her breakfast, go to the gym, make sure she has a snack, make sure I brought my snack, and there's just like a lot I feel like mentally I have to think about, even though they don't seem like big things. So I've learned like not to schedule too much in my week. I know I have to prioritize training if it's like game season. So that means like after training ends at 2, I need like 3 hours at home to kind of shower, eat, and decompress. If I schedule anything after that, I get like overwhelmed. So this season I had to learn like it's okay to say no to people and say like, can we reschedule for the weekend when I have a little bit more time? Or because sometimes I just need like a mental break of nothing on my schedule for 3 hours and just take it easy and like recover, help Blakely if I need to. Just like compartmentalizing stuff almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you experienced like any issues with like injuries or being sick? I mean, I know one of the things that, I've spoken with Danielle a few weeks ago. She's a Swolverine athlete, Danielle Dunlap. And one of the things she talked about, her daughter is not too much off of yours. And she's like, I'm sick all the time. Do you feel like with a little kid that you experience that much?
Honestly, no. Blakely stays with me full time, so I don't know if it's because like other kids are in daycare. The only injuries I've had, which thank goodness I have the best PT, Jody from Bodyworks, but my injuries come from not stretching enough. So like my back will get tight and it's because I'm not stretching my glutes. So that's like my trigger of like, okay, stretch out your glutes. My knee will get tight because I'm not stretching my quads enough. So I've been very thankful that they're just because I don't have enough time to like stretch, workout, stretch again. When I get, I just have a
plunge.
yeah, I just have a different pace of life, I guess, than most. So yeah, I've been very thankful with that.
That's awesome. Do you think that, so with your PT, you said it's Joey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are some of the things that like he has you doing? Does he have you on like a warm-up protocol, or are you seeing him like on a regular basis? How do you feel like a PT has played into some of your taking care of yourself as an athlete?
Jody, if I need anything, I know she's there. But like other than that, I'm very like, I don't want to say low maintenance, but like I don't get regular PT work done. I see her, she'll come to competitions with me, and like if I need treatment at the competition, she'll treat me. But other than that, like I just stretch. And if something hurts, I tell her and she's like, oh, stretch this now.
Hey, guess what? Stretch.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
No,
I was like, oh, that's too easy. But I would love to throw in like a weekly deep tissue massage or a weekly something else, because I feel like that would only help more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Someone get this lady a massage. Okay. Someone.
Probably in the Texas area.
Yeah, Texas, please. Any recommendations?
I love it.
Please, between the hours of 3 and 5. No.
Right. But I also, my training schedule is so much different than most athletes. I feel like most of my competitors are 9 to 5, 8 to 5. Like I'm at the gym 2 to 3 hours, and then that might be it for the day. So I don't think I'm killing my body as much as others. So my body's able to hold up, thankfully.
Do you feel like, so within that 2 to 3 hour framework, I mean, do you follow a program? Do you have a coach? Are you affiliated with a group? Are you doing mainly your training on your own? Do you work out with people?
Right now, my training it's been all over the place like the past 2 years. Like I'm just learning what works for me. I train, it's not an affiliate, but it's called Hyperfit, and they do interval style training. So it's very similar to CrossFit. They just don't have the like CrossFit persona of like, you have to lift heavy, you have to lie on the floor dead afterwards. They're more of like a wellness gym. Like if you feel like you're about to pass out, stop what you're doing, take a drink. Like little bit
if you
more.
took too much terrible pre-workout, please puke outside behind the building.
Right. So right now my schedule is I do my own thing, my own programming before the class workout. Then I'll do the class workout, then I'll do a little bit of strength. So I've got like a mixture of everything almost.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. How do you stay intentional and focused when you know you don't have very much time to go in and train?
I think that's what helps me stay focused. It's like I know I only have 2 hours, so I have to come in, get ready, attack it, and then leave. So it helps me stay like very intentional and very intensity focused. I can't really go in and like do a 30-minute long workout that should only take 5 minutes because I know I only have 5 minutes of that block.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blakely comes with you to the gym most days.
Yeah. That's another reason why I chose this gym is their childcare room is absolutely amazing. It's like picture the gym, and they have just like a glass door. And so I can like see her the whole time. She's got toys, she's got snacks, she's got a movie on. So it's like her TV time. So she absolutely loves it. And I know like she's healthy, she's fed, she's safe. Now I can work out in peace.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did she watch, what is it, Coco Melon? Is that a
She's
thing?
actually not into that. When she was a little baby. But now she's like, I actually like the movies she likes, where they're like Moana or Frozen.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. She's like doing dance-off battles with the other kids in the gym, like, oh, you suck. No, I'm just kidding.
So actually, this is so funny. Not other kids. I have his name's Joel. He's been training with me now, like my little workout buddy.
Yeah.
She'll dance battle. He's maybe like 35, male. She dance battles like a grown man, not kids. So she'll all be dancing, and then she'll bust out in the splits, and
He's like, well, this is where this ends.
it's like, oh, I tap out. Pretty funny.
Amazing.
So when we first get to the gym, she'll like stretch. And I'm like, why are you stretching? She's like, I gotta beat Joelle at our dance off. She stretches. So good.
Poor Joelle.
Yeah.
How do you feel like it is to have a social media presence, to be a mom, to be an athlete? How do you feel like, and especially kind of being around in this space for a little bit, right? So, I mean, 2013, that's 9 years. How do you feel like social media has changed? How do you feel like you handle that as an athlete and as someone who has to have presence?
It kind of overwhelms me some days. Like I'll notice some days I'll get a little grumpy, and I'm like, okay, why am I grumpy?
What could possibly be wrong?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like obsessed with social media, but I am so thankful for that. Like I get to support my family because of social media. I get to have a little extra income because of it. So it helps me keep things in perspective, but I wouldn't say I'm one that like jumps at the opportunity of like, let me make a new post.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. But with that being said, like every day I wake up and I'm like, thank you for this life. This is absolutely amazing that like I don't have to clock in 9 to 5 while Blakely's in daycare. Like I can be home with her and take advantage of it.
Well, I mean, it's still hard work, right? Like, even though I think there's kind of like this persona at times that, you know, people go and look at social media and they're like, oh, this person, they're just an athlete. They live the dream. Their life is so easy. And it's like, no, right? You're still human at the end of the day. You still have emotions and trials and tribulations and traumas and things that you go through. Do you feel like you've been able to connect with other athletes or people through social media that maybe if social wasn't there, you didn't have those connections or those introductions? And what does that kind of look like for you if so?
Yeah, definitely. A good example was last year, I guess this year at Bodapalooza. I like kind of talked to Danny Spiegel a little bit there, and then we followed each other on social media. And then we would like message back and forth randomly. And then at the games, we actually like became really good friends because we had kind of like built that friendship up over social media. And so at the games, we were like riding to the venue together, riding home together. So it was just cool to see that like unfold.
Yeah, that's funny. It's neat how, you know, it's, I don't know, growing up without social media and then having social media, it's like, it's not weird. Whereas I think for like other generations, they're like, oh, you made this friend online?
It's weird. Yeah.
We don't talk on the phone, but
the biggest thing that jumped out to me this year was when I qualified for the Last Chance qualifier. I was like overwhelmed by everybody who reached out through social media saying like, hey, we support you. Hey, go kill it. We're going to be watching. And just the support from social media definitely made a difference going into that online part of it.
totally. Yeah. And having that, just knowing that the eyes are out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think like social, we look at, oh, they have 30,000 followers. They have 14,000 followers. They have 800,000 followers. But you know, one of the things that helps me running social media accounts, whether it's for the businesses or myself or whatever, friends, is that it just takes one person.
Yeah.
Right. And if you were in a room with 100 people, let's say you only have 100 followers, but if you're in a room with 100 people and you're actually able to see them physically, you remember the impact that it can be for just one person. right? And I think a lot of times we're just like, oh, people are like, I don't have enough followers. I don't mean enough. They put all this value in it. And it's like, the impact is so much bigger than just the masses, right?
Yeah.
On the screen.
Yeah. And like the people in person as well. Like you could have 800,000 and still feel lonely.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, yeah. And so it's kind of like, well, where is your value system, right? Like where can we reconnect to like that human experience and not just be like behind the screen, right? Like,
exactly.
And then if you can't be, with someone, then get on the screen with people, right?
Like
Remember the yeah.
My favorite joke, like there's like the online, then there's the like actual in world. How many friends do you have? And most people don't have a ton of like in-person friends. My favorite joke is like, nobody talks about the miracle of Jesus having 12 close friends in his 30s. I'm like, that's so true. I can count like 4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 like actual in-person people who I can call and be like, hey, I need to just talk to you today. I need help.
Yeah, absolutely. Break some bread with me. I need some help.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the game season for 2022. What were some trials for you? What were some times where they were really positive, and what were some times maybe that were really defeating or discouraging for you?
Yeah, I'll start with the negatives and then we'll end on like the positives.
Okay.
Definitely, I've changed a lot the past 2 years. Going into January, I changed gyms, I changed people I was training with, everything. And it was negative at first, but it got positive. And then when I went to the Syndicate Crown, we had a fun trip, but I got, I think, like 6th place, so I didn't qualify for the games. And that whole weekend, even the week after, was really discouraging because it's like I've changed so much and I didn't get the result I wanted. So I kind of had to pivot and just like reevaluate a lot of things. And it was hard. But then on the flip side, when it came time for the last chance qualifier and going through the online process of getting to the games, it was like the most satisfying, the hardest I've ever worked to get to the games, and just like the community that came around me and supported me through the online qualifier to get there made the whole season, like all the trials and tribulations, absolutely worth it. I had like, when I did the last chance, I posted on social media like, hey, I'm gonna throw down at 3. If you want to come watch, come watch. And each time there were like 4 workouts maybe, I was blown away. At least the last day, there were probably like 80 to 100 people there who just showed up to watch. And I'm just like, the community is absolutely amazing. And that just like energy transferred over to the games. So I'm like, I don't care. Like you said with the followers things, you could have like 300 people like it, but to have like 100 people actually take time out of their day to show up and watch me just like meant the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you train with anyone? I mean, are you mainly on your own?
I do like my own training before the class, and I have like one other person who'll join me. Right now it's Joel. He's been awesome. And then good old Joel. And then I'll do the class workout. Yeah. And then the class workout, the whole community's there.
That's awesome. That's
but
really
that is
cool.
one thing I know about myself is I cannot work out alone. So like, even if you want to join me and you do half the reps, I just need someone there to show up to like mentally keep me going.
Yeah. And it's interesting, talking to different athletes and talking to them about philosophy or like what motivates them or, kind of like those surface level things. But then when you think about it and you like actually put yourself in an athlete situation like yourself, right? I need other people. I need to be around other people. And then you have another athlete who says like, I can work out in my cold ass garage and not care. And I'm doing it every day. And I live an hour away from all of my friends. You have another athlete who's like chasing ghosts on a leaderboard in Europe. Like you have these different perspectives. And I think that's a big thing that, I talk to people a lot about, and they're like, well, how do I become this? And how do I do that? And I'm like, you got to find what drives you and put in the work, right? Right? You can't work. And CrossFit's one of those things where, if you're not doing the work, then you're not showing up and it's not going to happen. And then you can't sit there and say like, ooh, why this? Why am I sitting at 40,000th on the leaderboard or 3,000th when I want to be in that top 50, top 100, top 150? Right. And you can escape it and it will show itself. It will rear like its ugly head, whether it's in the middle of a workout or on a leaderboard. Right.
And the most humbling part of that is you have to like self-reflect a lot. Like why is this not working? What am I doing wrong? It's not like, who can I blame? It's like, okay, how do I train best? How do I change it? Okay, I'm not doing good. Like, it's a lot of like humbling yourself to see where you personally are failing. Like after the games, I actually sat down with my husband, with my brother-in-law and sister, and was like, okay, basically like, where did I suck at the games? And they were like, well, I saw this, I saw this, I saw this. And I was like, thank you. Now I need to include that in my training. It's like, you have to really, there are conversations, but if you want to be good, you have to get rid of your weaknesses and have them.
Yeah. Well, and there's kind of this concept too, where it's like magnify your strengths while developing your weaknesses, right? Like
Right.
you got to have kind of that balance between the two as well, because you have to continue to progress. You can't just get your weaknesses up to your strengths and then be like, yeah, I'm good enough now. Like, congrats. Like there's this kind of constant evolvement of just skills and really being able to have those people that you trust, right? Who know you really well. I mean, you just mentioned 3 people who are probably the closest people to you, who know your personality, who have seen you through good days and ugly days and everything in between. And being able to be vulnerable with those people and being able to be honest and hear them out and respect what they have to say and know that it's coming from a place. Right. I mean, it can't be easy sitting there and be like, where did I screw up at the games? And they're like, here's these 10 things. Oh, my hands are terrible. I'm like,
I was like,
anyways.
what's on your hands?
Sorry. I was like, what's on my hands? Oh, I know.
The Black Plague. I'm just kidding.
Little babies. I know. I'm always like, is there a bug? Literally, I do that like 6 times a day.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's good conversations to have, and I feel like it's hard to be vulnerable with people. So even just like as character building, as anything, having those conversations helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have an MBA. So what did you want to do with your MBA? Why did you pursue that? And I mean, what did you originally want to do with that?
This is gonna be goofy. My dad works at Hardin Simmons, so I got a nice family discount. So when I was at Hardin Simmons, I like finished with my undergrad, and I was like, okay, I could either go into the real world, work 8 to 5, or still live the college life and get my MBA. So I chose get my MBA, which it sounds goofy, but I really enjoyed it because it's all about like strategic thinking, writing papers. This business has a problem, how do we fix it? So I actually really enjoyed it because it's not A, B, C, D answer. It's how do we strategically fix this problem? So even though I had a goofy reason to start it, I'm really thankful I got it. And like right after I graduated, I actually found out I was pregnant. So I never got the chance to use it, but I have it in my back pocket if I ever need it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So anyway, that's why it's so muscly. I'm just kidding. That's our idea.
Yeah, but we did a lot of marketing stuff, and I kind of like to think social media is marketing in a sense. So it did help a little bit there.
Oh, totally. And creating a personal brand, right? Yeah. And figuring out, well, what are the values that you present? What is kind of your mission vision with yourself? Mm-hmm. And how do you bring that into the people that you interact with or carry yourself at competitions? I mean, it's not just social media. You also have to show up and be a professional when you're, anxious and in the crowd. You have to show up and be yourself in your personal brand when you're at the grocery store and somebody sees you. And I think when you create this personal brand that you feel connected to and you feel aligned with and you are able to, live out your values and be yourself, then it's easy, right? Mm-hmm. You don't feel like you're having to put on a show. But then there's also people who, put on this persona and only are what they are on social media. You're like, I don't really feel this way in real life, right?
And I've met a few people like that, and you're like, whoa. This person and this person do not align. So I really want to make sure like who I am is who you see is who you get.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you coach at all?
I don't. I actually coached for a season of my life and I did not enjoy it at all. I coached adults. I coached gymnastics to like little kids for many years and
the adults suck. Just kidding.
No, there's like certain things you could say to a kid that doesn't work as an adult. So like your arms look like spaghetti noodles, like you need to squeeze them. You can't say that to an adult.
Oh my gosh.
So, like,
I would love if my coach said that to me. I'm a giant glorified child.
Right. I've learned I love kiddos, but adults are just harder for me to work with.
Yeah.
And I'm very,
Yeah. And I mean, like, we have so much conditioning, right? Like, we've had so many more years under our belt where we've heard things or got marketing messages or been told what we are and what we're not,
right.
right? It can be
Well,
difficult.
yeah, and adults can be stubborn. They're like, oh, I want to get good at handstand walks. And I'm like, okay, how often do you do handstands? Twice a week. Whereas a kid, they'll be doing handstands like left and right, left and right, left and right. And that's why they improve so quick. So it's just a totally different battlefield, I guess.
It's weird. It's different for sure.
It is.
What does your nutrition look like? Do you have a favorite food? Do you do like cheat meals? Do you do you and your husband go out on dates and you have like your favorite place or like your little indulgence, or are you like pretty straightforward, don't do sweets? What does that kind of look like?
It's definitely, it works for me. So I try and eat a lot of whole foods. So like breakfast, I'll have oats and some type of protein, bagel, egg whites. But like lunch, I'm very good about like veggies, carbs, protein. And then I always, like after lunch, have like 3 cookies for dessert, just like the little cookies. Same with dinner. I'll cook dinner for the family and I'll eat and then I'll have dessert. So like I still have dessert 2 times a day because that's just something I've learned. If I cut it out, a week will go by and I'll be craving it so much that I'll just like eat a whole cake. So it's like I'd rather like eat a piece a day than overindulge and feel like disgusting about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely balance. And right now Blakely loves to make cupcakes and she'll like put the icing on it and sprinkles. So by no means do we like cut out. We just try and teach balance and moderation.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that how is your training change or your nutrition change around training? Like during games, like are you counting macros? Do you tighten it up? Are you just like eating more? Is it hard for you to eat more to sustain training? Does training change for the games?
Definitely, I love game season because I can just eat because I need the fuel. But that's
I'll take every day. No, I'm just kidding.
That's like my only weakness is that I'm not willing to track my macros. So like comes game season, I'll just eat if I'm hungry. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not hungry, I don't eat. So I try and like be stomach based more than like what the computer says. So maybe I could improve more if I were to track that, but I'm just not willing to be on my phone more to track a piece of chicken. Like if I want to eat, I'm just going to eat the chicken instead of like being on my phone more than I have to.
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point. I mean, we do nutrition coaching here as well as like training, and we work like a really wide variety of people, whether you're like brand new to fitness or you're at the games level, right?
Okay.
And it's really interesting how I think too with the wearables playing into it, telling you your recovery, telling you what to eat, telling you how much to eat, when to eat, you got to log it, you got to do this and that and the other. And it's almost like a lot of times information overload, and then people don't listen to their body. And I'm like, well, okay, your recovery score was at 25, but how do you actually feel? Or your macros say you have this much left, you ate your macros, but if you're still hungry, why didn't you eat? Right. And it's sometimes we can really overrule our body systems and like what our brain is telling our body and our body's telling our brain. And it seems like you have a good relationship with your body. Do you feel like it's always been that way? Do you feel like there's been times where maybe you've overruled those cues, or, when you got pregnant, did you feel distant from your body? Did you ever have anything like that?
Oh yeah. After I had Blakely, I had no intentions of like ever qualifying for the games again. So I got really strict on my diet just to like get back to how I was pre-baby. And I almost got so restrictive. I had I called it like binge eating, where I would eat perfect Monday through Friday. I'm talking like 1,200 calories a day, way too little. And Saturday and Sunday would come and I would literally eat like 10 bowls of cereal, cookies, like everything in the pantry, because my brain was in like starvation mode. It would be like, okay, you've starved your body so long, you better eat before you start it again. So I had like a very unhealthy relationship with food because I thought like I had to look a certain way or I had to not eat. So then I would look skinny and look good as this like new mom with a baby. So I've learned over the past 2 years of like, fueling your body is good. Moderation is good. It's okay to have 1 cookie. It's okay to have 2. I just don't want to get to the point again. It was embarrassing. I would eat, and then like when my husband would be gone from work, I would like make cookies and eat all of them and then feel disgusted with myself. So it was just like this unhealthy eating cycle that I had to like break the chains of.
Yeah. What do you feel like were some of the things that helped you recognize like this isn't good, or this is not even good, but this isn't the way I want to feel. This isn't the way I want to treat my body. And how did you kind of heal that relationship or establish maybe for the first time that relationship with food for yourself?
I think having a daughter helped, because there would be times I would be like, I just ate all of this. I would love to go throw it up, and then it wouldn't affect my body how I don't want it to look. And then I would be like, okay, my daughter's in the other room. I'm trying to distract her from my super unhealthy eating habit. I need to change because she's not dumb. She's not ignorant. Like, she's going to see these things. So I just wanted to be healthy, and I wanted to be better for her to see that, like, this isn't how you live. This isn't how you should treat your body.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the pressures of social media have played into that? Like image, you got to look a certain way, you got to be a certain way as an athlete, like anything like that? Or was it more intrinsic? And do you feel like if it were internal struggles, do you feel like that was correlated with the expectation of being a games athlete and being pregnant?
I wasn't a games athlete at this time, so I don't think it was that. I think
like
it was
the games goal. I guess
games goal. That's a good way to put it. I think it was more of a pressure I put on myself because I like looking a certain way. I like being fit, and I wasn't fit. So I just put too much pressure on like how people see me. They're supposed to see me as someone who works out, who has like muscular legs. So just too much pressure of what I feel like other people would want to see me look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting battle. I mean, with social media, with not, right?
Yeah.
Change is scary. Change is it's daunting. It's unfamiliar, right? And I personally cannot attest to being pregnant, but I imagine I'm not even gonna try. But I, can't imagine kind of having like that identity and then also like trying to adjust with it. And the struggles that come along with that. And I'm sure a lot of people who listen to this are going to be able to relate to that, going to be able to relate to kind of this concept of, it's like you have a whole new body after you have a baby, right? And you go through it and you have to learn it and learn how to accept it and love it and embrace it. And at times, like, you're not going to, and that's okay. Because you're learning a completely new way of life and way of taking care of yourself.
Yeah. And just like giving yourself grace, figure out what works for you and what you can sustain over a year, not just 2 months, was a big thing.
Absolutely. You mentioned something. You said, when I got pregnant, I give up kind of this goal of going to the games.
Right.
You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. I tell people like I retired. So 2018, I was in my head, I was going to make it to the games, and then day 2 of regionals in Utah, Salt Lake City, I just felt weird. Like I could barely handstand walk. I was just off.
Yeah. Day
3 happened. I could tell something was up. So like I knew, even before I took a pregnancy test, I was like, I'm pregnant. I already know I feel weird. Mm-hmm. And then I found out I was pregnant and kind of like retired from CrossFit. Retired my last name of Armstrong. So it would have been perfect for the games. So I like gave up this whole like CrossFit identity I was holding on to for so long, and just like transitioned into motherhood, what it looked like getting married and all that stuff. And I just realistically knew if I couldn't make it before having a baby, how am I going to have a baby? My core will be weak, gain all this weight and go back to it. So I just kind of retired, gave it up. And then after I had Blakely, I just slowly got back into the gym, figured out my eating after like a year of adjusting it, and then just like everything kind of like clicked into place. And that's when I just unexpectedly won Granite Games, and the rest is a dream from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the last chance qualifier, I mean, it's new. I'm not suppose it just is new. And how do you feel like that plays with you mentally as an athlete? What advice would you give to an athlete who maybe in this coming season ends up in the last chance qualifier after not qualifying and being close, and having that discouragement and having that just kind of like, what am I doing? I'm not good enough to make it type thing. And then all of a sudden having that opportunity. What were some of the mentalities or the approaches that you took into the last chance qualifier that helped you be successful? Or do you think it was just the change in the structure and the workouts and the LCQ was a lot better than semifinals altogether?
It was, the workouts were amazing. I'll give you that. It kind of restored my faith. So 2018, I got pregnant, retired CrossFit. I had like an identity crisis because CrossFit was like my life and who I identified as. It was so refreshing after Syndicate. I was sad. I gave myself a week to kind of like, oh, I didn't make the games, I'm fine. But I didn't realize like I was okay. Like after not qualifying for the games, I was like, life goes on. I'm not distraught. I'm not crying. I'm not depressed. Like I was disappointed, but like it was encouraging to see my identity was still what I believe in. Like I'm a child of God. My family's here. They still love me. Blakely loves me. And so like taking that into the last chance was refreshing to where it's like, I'm going to give the last chance my all, but if I don't make it, I have peace with it. Like I'm okay with being here for my family and not having to train as much. It just kind of reassured myself that like my identity is not, I'm not lost in this CrossFit world of identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a big thing, right? And especially for like younger athletes, they look and they see the people who start really young, right? They're like 14 and like, I feel like when you're like 14, 18, 20, 22, 30, no, but you are trying to find this identity and find things that are familiar, right?
Yeah.
Because things change so much. You're like, no, your parents are like doing different things. Your friends are doing different things. And, you know, it's easy to look at other people and like, oh, they have all their shit together and I don't, you know? And to be able to understand why you do what you do and how you do what you do and how that's going to change and having that grace and patience with yourself to be not only a beginner, but to constantly be a beginner, right? And constantly learn and constantly fuel yourself to or encourage yourself to be moldable, right? Because life is different and it's going to throw you some curveballs. I mean, injuries, pregnancies, moving, income, maybe trying to make that leap from being a full-time athlete and still being a full-time employee to being a full-time athlete and being able to support yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, everyone kind of walks their own walk, but that's the important thing to kind of take away from that. Everyone walks their own walk. There's not a rule book on how to do this. There's not a 1, 2, 3, cool, it's your life is perfect, you know?
Yeah. And it's good to see where your priorities are. Like if this was taken away from you, would you still like, how much weight is that holding over your head? So it was actually a good reality check, but it also worked out very well in my favor, where it's easy to reflect back. But in that moment, I was very thankful that like who I say I am, who I say I stand for was tested in that moment and I was still fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be able to still have fun with it, you know, 12 years later.
Like I didn't make the syndicate and like my team that was there, we sat down for dinner afterwards and like the mood was like depressing. Nobody was talking. And I was just like, okay guys, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. I did not qualify for the CrossFit Games. And then they just all started laughing and then we were able to be normal. So just like it's not that important. Like we're still here. We're in Tennessee. We're having fun. Let's finish the weekend having fun.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like the overall theme of this, right? Is like, how do you have fun?
Yeah.
How do you enjoy it? How do you, you know, take some of the pressure off and really be able to sink your teeth into the experience and being present and being mindful and being grateful, right? I mean,
good word, good way to put it.
Yeah. And when you're able to do that, how many more doors does that open up to you? How many more connections does that open up to you through that vulnerability or through just that raw transparency of like, and it doesn't mean that you don't take it serious. I think that's another thing, especially with my younger athletes that I coach, is it's like, just because you're having fun doesn't mean you don't take it serious. Doesn't mean that you don't have a high regard or respect for it. Right.
Right.
I mean, it's, you know, pretty awesome. It seems like you have a really unique relationship with not only yourself, but your fitness journey in general. You've been through some trials and tribulations, and I'm sure there will be more, but what do you feel like are some of your goals going into the 2023 season? I mean, I know you kind of take it chunk by chunk, but going back into that value system, I mean, what does that kind of look like for you, or what do you hope to accomplish in the next season of your athletic journey?
I really, it sounds silly, but I really don't think that far ahead. Like you asking is the
That's
first
okay.
time. The first time I thought about 2023, but I really I want to be healthy and I want to keep enjoying what I'm doing. I feel like if I do that, I've already been blessed more. Like going to the games once is already a blessing. Going twice is already a blessing. So like, even if this is my last hurrah, I've already done so much more than I would have ever dreamed of. So I really hope to be healthy and having a blast in 2023. And of course, going to the games would be a bonus, but I know like it's hard to make it there. So like if I make it there again, I'd be extremely grateful.
What do you feel like is the hardest part about making it there?
The semifinals. Like if you could open, for my experience, open isn't bad, quarterfinals is not bad, but semifinals, there's like so much weight on like who's in your semifinal, what the workouts are. And like if you don't qualify out of that, once you qualify, like games training is a blast. It's just that one weekend is so stressful.
Worst weekend of the year.
Exactly. Yeah. Just wake me up when it's over.
Who's your favorite person to compete next to? Or do you have a favorite person to compete next to? Is it
I
yourself?
have like 10 favorite people. I don't know if I could just choose one. If we're like talking game day, Emily Rolfe, Spiegel, McQuaid, Haley Adams, Alex Gazan. Like I have so many people I'd love to compete with next to. If we're talking here in Midland, me and my husband will throw down like machine work in our home gym garage. And that's like we threw down Monday night and it was like, okay, who's going to win tonight? It depends on the setting.
You making dinner, loser? No.
Yeah, exactly. You got to clean up my sweat. That's fun.
Maybe you should should do a live next Monday. And then you guys can have a dance battle. Everyone can chime in. We'll have cupcakes after. Party at your house.
It gets bad in the home gym. Sweat, slobber, it's bad. We'll just do the dance battle part.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
We'll be friends back after this.
Yeah.
Adrian did want to know, what is your next comp after Rogue? I think you said you're doing Wadapalooza. Do you have like a competition in between that?
I know the Zealous Games will go. Jared's in charge of. I don't know if I'm going to do them yet, but that would be the only one on my radar.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I do actually have a question regarding qualifiers. And so this kind of came up with Brian the other day over at Morning Chalk Up. I know he was talking about it, and it's like the year of the qualifiers. Is it too much? Is it too little? Do you feel overwhelmed by it? Do you care? Is it kind of just one of those things that just happens and you just do it? Where do you kind of stand on that?
I feel like so many competitions are trying to get into the space, so I don't hate them for it. But I just, as like, if my goal is the games, I don't really look at many of the other online qualifiers. Like I'm going to look at Rogue because it's huge, Wadapalooza because it's in Miami. But other than that, I don't have many others on my radar. Because we've got to prioritize. For me right now, games is a priority. For other athletes, these online qualifiers are the perfect way to test your fitness, to see how you are in the open. So I think it's just a different market.
Totally. I think it's awesome. And it's good to just kind of recognize like where you are, right? You kind of just
Yeah, I did see Hiller posted this, which I actually love. He said, make all the online qualifier videos public. So it's like, and then I was like, well, that's controversial. But it's good to keep people accountable too. So
it is, yeah. I probably would give him some content to just rip apart.
Yeah, that might be.
He's like, help me with my marketing strategy. I support it. I'm here for it.
I'll watch it, but I won't comment on it.
I know, right? I'll never do a qualifier again.
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is awesome. I really appreciate you hopping on today. I want to kind of shout out to your sponsors, Paper Street Coffee, RPM, TYR, Wadproof, Born Primitive, and we have is it Jody at Beer PT?
Yeah, Jody at Bodyworks, and then Hyperfit, of course. They're awesome.
For sure. And if anyone comes down in Texas, I mean, hop in where the gym you train at is called what?
Hit for Fit. I actually had, his name's Tony. He came down from Dallas this past Friday to train with me. So if anyone is ever like remotely close to Midland, shoot me a message. You're more than welcome to come join me for the class workout.
For sure. See, that would be awesome. So anyone can go to Texas. It's pretty neat.
Midland.
Absolutely. And we will see you most likely at Rogue. We look forward to seeing you compete at Wadapalooza. Make sure to follow her on Instagram. Give her some love throughout the season. We hear she likes the encouragement from people who are rooting for her.
Of course.
Say hey, say hello. Again, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for our lives with athletes, influencers, fitness people, business owners, all the amazing people, wonderful stories just like hers. We also are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a few other ones. So make sure to subscribe there. Give Arielle a follow on Instagram and have a wonderful day. Arielle, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great talking to you.
Absolutely. All righty, guys. Take